Greetings, loved ones. Let us go on a peculiar journey this video as I recount my experiences going undercover into various closed species communities within the furry fandom. Now, let me be clear, this video took months to make, yes, months. 3 previous attempts to film and refilm, all because things got worse. Things got so much worse in these communities and it was hard to keep up. Throwing that aside, let me tell you exactly what I experienced as an undercover closed species enthusiast within these furry communities. Now, for those of you who don't know what a closed species is with regards to the furry fandom, it is a kind of species that the community has created and is oftentimes put a paywall behind or a membership of some sort, whether it's actually monetary or not. That means you cannot make these characters with these specific traits unless you pay or join the community. Now, they're not to be confused with open species, which are species made by the community that anyone can make and may have some guidelines. These closed species are kind of like the designer version of that. Now, if you want to learn more about closed species and the kind of drama that comes from these kinds of communities, feel free to watch this video or this video that I've made previously, or any other video you can find on YouTube that people have made regarding the subject. Now, before I get into the juicy findings from my experiences, I just want to give a verbal disclaimer. Please do not harass anyone mentioned in this video. Please come to your own conclusions with your own experiences regarding closed species communities. My experiences are different from others, but this is taken from findings that the public can experience on the surface level. That and some of this has been very generalised to protect both myself and those involved with this project's data. Also, this video was 30 minutes long originally. So without further ado, let's go over the good, the bad, and the ugly communities I've encountered in my journey. During my time doing this investigation, I joined roughly 10 communities and only 4 stuck out to me. The Mochi Raptor community, the Fishure community, Palburros community, and another familiar face we've met before. Most of the communities I joined were capitalising off of simple concepts. Hell, I even found one that was gatekeeping catboy robots, but unfortunately in most cases, these communities were dead. I joined the Palburros community a good year or so ago, and the designs and concepts were just perfect. In fact, I have quite a few Palburros OCs which I cherish, some of which are close traits. Yet, the Discord is dead and the progress on the species has halted. There was an economy system and it worked decently enough, and a verification system too. But people change and so do the times, and I'd love to be able to see the community flourish once more. You can actually find me on that community openly as Pompeii or Pompeii Bad Boy, but I still can't help but mourn its fade away from popularity. I really thought it'd be this huge thing due to its simple but easily identifiable nature. The same could be said for a lot of other servers I joined, more notably the Fishure community. I like fish, I like sharp designs, so I was excited to see this server recommended to me. Yet when I joined, I was met with a rather dead atmosphere and inactive staff members. It was really disappointing because the gimmick was really good. It was based off of a random number generator where you just have to basically do a slot machine roll, gamble each time, but you're not losing anything, to try and get the combination of traits that you want. And all you have to do to actually make one of these characters is sell some of the fishes that you've fished up, get enough money to buy and make your own slot, and then you can use it. And there's also breeding mechanics and an economy, which again sounds really fun and cool, but was completely outbalanced. You see, every time that you would fish up a lot of fish and then sell them, you would be able to afford the next level to fish even more fish up. And so you were able to just progress through the entire game gimmick within maybe a few days if you really zoned in with it. Also, unfortunately, the base traits accessible to everyone at first were the only ones I found interesting, with too many traits later on that contradicted previous traits or just weren't that creative or didn't appeal to me. It's such a shame. I really wanted these 2 particular communities to do well, but they either died out naturally or there wasn't much to them and I left. This is the issue with these communities. They just want to be the next Protogen, Sergo, Crux or Voltrix, but they just die, and that's no fault of the creators because they have lives too. When it comes down to it, a lot of these communities just don't hit the ground running, or are based off of common concepts like robots or cats, just straight up normal domestic cat. Let us have a moment of silence to remember our fallen brethren. In the arms of the angel. Something additionally I want to mention is that I've had people in the comments of my videos admitting to scamming genuine users in closed species groups, and unfortunately I don't have proof of this due to YouTube's comment deletion, but trust me, I'm not making this shit up. But what I do dislike is when I reach out to a lot of these closed communities and let the admins of the species know that people are scamming others, giving out their group username, who they scam, how much they've scammed, and when. But then they just turn a blind eye to it because I have no solid proof. Like, dude, seriously, do you think I'm just gonna pluck out a random community from 2007 on Smoothie Chicken or whatever the fuck the website's called, contact you and admin and make up fake drama? No, I didn't pull this out of my ass. This has happened twice now and I hate the injustice of it. I'm not going to name the communities involved with this, but you know who you are. I am so disappointed this video had to be remade so many times, because originally it was very positive throughout the whole video. The next two communities I want to get into had greatly improved, and I was excited to praise them, especially after being harsh towards them in some of my previous videos. Even if my criticism back then were valid. But somehow, it got worse. I have spent a long time hidden in the Mochi Raptor community, watching it improve over the years on their Discord server. Oh yeah? That's right, you've been hoodwinked. I've been in that server from even before I talked shit about it. Anyway, it grew once more, and with some very key developments like the new admins being old respected members of the community, and even Loopy handing over ownership of the species as well, which I did not fucking see coming. New events were held, new seasonal closed treats were available, and everything was looking great. Until the micromanaging returned. All of a sudden, certain artists were being criticised for their art style as it didn't really align with what these admins wanted the traits to be represented as. And then you sort of saw the clique return with that actions being put in place and the traction of newcomers' engagements dwindling. Yet at the same time, closed traits became more accessible, new lore was added, and there still seemed to be a steady flow of newcomers into the server. Elaborating a little more on their verification system, a lot of the things that they set in place were being broken. Just little rules, big rules. Some were getting passed through verification with features that would not be allowed on the Mochi Raptors, and others weren't, for very silly reasons. And honestly, I don't actually think it was a case of staff preferring their friends, you know, having a bit of nepotism. I think it was just general ignorance. What's the point in having rules if you're not going to enforce them? But sometimes enforce them. Where the fuck was the consistency? But that's not the thing that really ground my gears. The thing that got me annoyed was seeing people who scammed me a good few years ago walk free amongst the community. Oh yeah, I won't name anyone, but I know they're still active and full of connections. I still want my fucking money back, you particular piece of shit. It's so sad, because this place had actually become fun, engaging, and full of life like the good old days. But much like the good old days, old habits die hard. Take this screenshot I was able to capture of the rules, for example. Yeah, this is very reminiscent of the kind of damage control, micromanagement, passive aggressiveness that was very, very prevalent on the Mochi Raptor Amino. Just look at it, take a minute to read it. I think it's also weird because when I saw these rules, this member of the community was no longer in the community, nor a staff member, so it's kind of like, why do you have this here in the first place? It's really weird. God forbid someone has opinions, you know. But I was having so much fun, and even came very close to owning a very famous Mochi Raptor character featured in many YouTube videos. I also poured a little bit of money into this, with no scamming, might I add, because I wanted to support the people behind it and keep it going. But being walked over by people who are wrongfully assuming that you, yes you, random Mochi Raptor newcomer, are out to cause trouble by drawing something in your own style is just so, dare I say, nostalgic. My hopes were mediocre and yet you still disappointed me, but once more, I want to be very open. This was not the worst experience I had with this experiment, and technically the best experience I had for quite a long period of time. These new admins just suck, and I don't feel safe giving my money to the community anymore. None of us do. But about the worst community I'd been in, well, I'm sure you're familiar with them. Okay. I'm sure you've been waiting for this, the Terraliens segment. If you want more details on what Terraliens are and my involvement with them so far, watch this video of mine. Okay, let me break it down for you. When I made this video, I swear on my life I didn't know about the drama that was in this community already, specifically the admin drama. Oh my god, alright, it's mostly documented in this PSA post on Toy House, but you need to read through the whole thing to get the whole story. I'll let you do that if you care, I'm not going over it. My opinion on everything covered here is that the admin should still be held accountable for their actions. Disregarding those actions is ignorant to the people who suffered from them. Yes, one piece of drama may be a piece of straw in a big pile of hay, but remember it only takes a straw to break the camel's back. If you want to know the ins and outs, I will link the PSA, read at your own discretion and know that what I'm about to discuss does not cover what is in here. If I knew then what I know now about the admins, I would have been more critical of them in my previous video. Okay, oh boy, I am captivated by this community, and the information we have gathered during our time there. Yes, us, multiple people, have been involved in this project of mine to gather statistical and surface level information about this community. I will referring to these individuals as User A, User B, and User C. User A has contacts with the admin team, B and C do not. C is the newest to the community, A is the eldest member of the group. The following is drawn from my own reliable experiences and the documented experiences on the TERRA Discord server and web page. For some background, Terraliens are a community mainly based on the Discord server and their website, with anyone being able to join both and now become an owner of a Terra just from the website alone. This is great, as before I didn't like joining servers for closed species and brought it up in that video I made. But let's address this as I experienced it in chronological order. The rules on the Discord do not match the website, with outdated traits descriptions on both, misleading guidance and straight up lies about obtaining and make your own, and a lengthy section on DID drama. Side note, I know people who have diagnosed DID and they aren't exactly passionate about it, but hey, that's not my kettle of fish to brew. It's just confusing. I currently base my knowledge of the rules on the website rather than the Discord's outdated information. It's so strange because the Discord server is the hub, that's where all the events take place. Why is it so messy? From my intel, mismanagement has something to do with it. Who the fuck is mismanagement and why does she keep fucking with us? That was my first impression of this community as someone who was going into it fully for the first time. It was very messy. Now, I want to forget about the Discord server entirely for a little bit and focus on the website, as that was the main inspiration for this part of the video. Throughout making this video, the website had been updated quite a few times and it kept on breaking. I'm so genuinely pissed off because I've had to re-record this segment of the video multiple times because the story keeps changing, it keeps growing arms and legs, and I'm hoping this is the final take. Okay, originally, and this is how it's supposed to be intended, the website allows you to have a feature where you can forage for these items. These items can then be sold on for grub sprouts. Now, grub sprouts are the gold coin currency, whilst pupa seeds are like the diamond currency. Think of it as like Dragon City or something like that. Now, you can also use some of these forageable items, a very low percentage of them, to actually add onto your Terralien. These are items that you can use to add traits, which originally when I was made that first video, I didn't know you had to have these items to have certain traits. I also didn't know that some of the items you could get from foraging were completely useless in regards to making the character and can only be used to complete collections. So when you have a completed collection, you can get a reward of the diamond currency, and that diamond currency can help you buy those items to make more cool traits on your Terralien, or help you buy and make your own slot for a Terralien. You could forage for these items 4 times a day within a 24-hour period, with you being able to forage twice every 12 hours. However, this system has become so buggy that for a good few weeks, just recently, it only worked once a day and that was it. You could only forage once a day because it would not let you actually claim your goods, and this seemed to happen on mobile devices the most. Not only that, but the actual items you collected, you didn't know what they were, they didn't come up with a little description, and anytime you went into the encyclopedia for a good few months, you could not get access to it. And any reports that I saw of people reporting this bug were just closed off with no action, and the issue was still there. Thankfully that's now been resolved and you can see what items you can use, and that's allowed me to actually finish that video. Yes, that's part of the reason why this video took so long, because that fucking website was broken for so long. But that's not what intrigued us the most about this website. Our experiment came from the foraging, when it worked, back when it worked, 4 times a day, to see what the statistics actually were. Now, back when I was first making this video, the statistics were advertised as somewhere between 4.5% of drops would be items, and that wasn't correct, as we came to discover. Now, I believe that was also advertised on the Discord server, but again, that doesn't matter, because we took in over 200 entries of data from multiple users, which I could verify, and we saw that these were the statistics of drops for user A, B, and C. As you can see, user A has a much higher drop rate for items than user B and C, but overall none of these seem to reflect what was the originally advertised 4.5-ish% of item drops. Unfortunately, I don't have a screenshot advertising the original drop rates. I've tried looking on the website, I think it's been patched out, it may still be on the Discord server, but honestly, I'm just focusing on the website. Believe me, I'm not making this up, it was advertised as somewhere below 10% of drops would be items, and the most of them would be grub sprouts. That's not the case, obviously. I don't actually see this as a bad thing, because it allows people to actually complete their collections quicker, or get items to actually use for their make your own slot. Additionally, it also means they can trade for items too, or make your own slots. It means they can get into the economy side of things even quicker. My real distaste for this comes from the fact that, one, it's not what the original advertised drop rates were, and two, why is it that it's so varied across various different users? It's a bit weird that user A has got a much higher, in the grand scheme of things, percentage of drop rates for valuable items on this app than the other users, but I think it is honestly just down to coincidence. Personally, I think it's probably a plugin error or a coding error on the site that allows you to actually have this foraging function, and as we can see previously, there's been issues with the foraging. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they'd initially made it that it was possibly roughly 5% of all the drops would be items, but the code didn't follow through with that. Look, I've done web development and coding as part of my job. Shit's hard. I respect that, and I think it's maybe a good reason that they've taken out that little advertisement of 5% of drops will be this, that, and the next thing, if they can't verify that. But still, it goes to show there's a large variation between these drop rates that means you might not ever complete a collection. And neither has user A, by the way. Yup, that's right, user A, who has been in the fandom for a good few years now, I won't say anything to protect our data, has not completed a single collection despite having a lot of data and a lot of time put into foraging. That just goes to show you that earning diamonds to make a make-your-own slot to get one of these Terraliens is near impossible on the website. It's just down to luck. It is gambling with no stakes, yes, but it's so time-consuming. And your only other option would be to go onto the Discord server and enter the events. So you may be wondering to yourself, why don't you do that? Well, the events that have been advertised that I've seen are all writing and art events where you have to make art of a Terralien or writing and submit it. And it's usually a theme, like at Christmas it'll be like a winter theme, or Valentine's Day it'll be lovey-dovey theme. The thing is, you have to make it of an official Terralien or someone else's Terralien OC if you do not have one of your own. Now, if that's your thing, go crazy. However, you would have to do this for 5 months if you don't have your own Terralien and you are looking to save up for one. Because every time you enter one of these events, you get diamonds regardless, which I think is really good. It's really accessible. And you don't have to draw, you can write as well. I see you eyeing up ChatGPT there, stop it. Bad. Where's my spray bottle? But 5 months, on average, just to save up to get a basic make-your-own slot if you can't trade for it or complete a collection on the foraging app. It's insane. This is what it is. This is me trying to get a fucking Terralien as like a normal person. It's fucking unobtainium. With all that being said, I'm still eternally grateful that I was given a make-your-own slot. How did I happen to come across a make-your-own slot? How did this become one of the things I possess? Well, When I made my first Terralien video, I was contacted within 40 minutes of each other by 3 different kinds of admins, and they were all basically doing some very polite damage control, but they were all really nice, and I got into contact with one of them. They got me onto the official website, which is how I started this whole segment, and I began investigating things, and as a gift they gave me a basic make your own slot, which you can see I've been designing throughout this entire segment. I am only using one item that I got from my entire foraging adventures, which have been very on and off because I've not really been the one doing the experiment, I've just been collating stuff. This was using the Wiggle Pod item, which allows you to have tentacles, and if you couldn't tell already, this, I was about to call it Protogen, this Terralien is based off of a tripod from the 2005 War of the Worlds film because I have problems. I was able to get this Terralien verified, so this is now official. However, there were some hiccups because I put a coloured background in and some other shit, which is just wild. I've not had that kind of interaction in any closed species community. However, one thing is for certain. If I did not receive this make your own slot as a gift, me, user A, B, and C would never have been able to even put our powers combined to be able to afford a basic make your own slot. That is out with the Discord server. To conclude my experiences across the board with closed species, I just want to say that I have genuinely enjoyed my time doing this little experimentation, this investigation thing, whatever you want to call it. I've had some really good experiences, some neutral experiences, and just some nostalgic experiences too. There is a genuine sense of accomplishment when you do grind for these characters if you're wishing to play by these rules, but at the end of the day, the rules in the community have to be appealing and, most importantly, open to other people. When it's very clear that there's a clique or it's just not made that accessible to others, what's the point? I want to support these small communities and artists, and that's why I would spend money on these things, and I have. Not because I want a designer furry character with a label slapped on it. No, because I want to support the artists and the people behind the community because I enjoy these things and I want to see them thrive. But my original point still stands. Why should we support these people if they don't support us, an outsider? Why would we want to support them if they don't make it accessible to just a normal internet user? Regardless if you're furry or you're into closed species or not. Ultimately, if you want to join any of these communities, I cannot stop you. Go ahead, go crazy, go stupid. However, if you want my advice, go for the ones or communities like the ones I spoke fondly of, more so than the ones I didn't speak as fondly of. There's so much more I could have said, but again, I wanted to protect my data and the data of those involved, so I kept it very generalised. If it seems at points I'm getting a little too passionate about things, just know it's a surface level thing. This video has been really stressful to make and I have went through a lot of personal shit in the background. So at the end of the day, no, I'm not trying to hunt down anyone that was mentioned in this video. If anything, I just want to advise some people, maybe stay away from this kind of thing, don't do what I did. Do as I say, not what I do, that kind of stuff. Moreover, me trying to make fun of people. Again, please do not go after anyone who's mentioned in this video. Disclaimers everywhere. That's not why I'm making these videos. Again, these videos are merely for entertainment purposes and to advise you what kind of communities to look out for. At the end of the day, they can do whatever they want, and you can do whatever you want. So if you want to make a closed species character without joining the community or paying for it, I can't stop you. And neither can the admins. I hope you all enjoyed this video. It's a bit of a long one and it took a long time to make, as I said. This investigation has been really eye-opening to me and again has been very, very fun. I did enjoy my experience and I hope you enjoyed this video too. I'll see you all next time, whenever that is, in like 6 months.